Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host this week, Terrence.
What's up?
All right, guys, we're back. This episode, we are going to review the first season of Mindhunter, which is the new series on Netflix. So Terrence and I have sat down and watched this show, and things are a little crazy. The show's a little nuts.
Yeah, I finished it a couple weeks ago.
I was slow to finish this one finally.
Goddamn it.
So this show is starring Jonathan Groff and Holt McCallany. So
You fucked that all up.
I super did. But this was originally, like, this show was supposed to be designed for Charlize Theron, which is kind of interesting, and she jumped off the show.
Wait, she was supposed to be...
I think she was supposed to be the clinical psychologist.
Oh,
Who comes
okay.
in, right? So this show, the basic premise of this show is set in 1977. By the way, so David Fincher is the one who worked on this. I produced it and I think directed a couple episodes as well. But the idea is set in 1977 before the FBI had kind of, as it was starting its elite serial crime unit, and it's sort of the start of the idea of like a unit going after serial killers, right? So
They weren't even named serial killers.
Right. They were, what did they say? Sequence killers at one point was the title they were giving them. It's more about the starting of that unit, and it also plays in this like weird Silence of the Lambs kind of Hannibal Lecter-esque, like, let's go talk to these criminals that have been arrested to try to get into the minds of these other serial killers coming down the line. So what did you think of this series?
I thought it was great.
I loved it.
It's pretty fucking dark. It's very dark.
Yeah, to say the least.
Like, it started off
super crazy.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay, that's what we're doing here. Okay, that's cool. But running through the show, it's great writing. The actors, were all great. The lead actor, what's his name?
Jonathan Groff, who plays Holden Ford.
Holden Ford.
Who, by the way, these are real people. Like, you can look up interviews with these guys. Yeah,
they changed their names.
Yeah,
they're not their real names. But I couldn't tell in the first like 2 or 3 episodes. I couldn't tell if he was like not a good actor, or if that's just the way his character was. Because I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? But then, like, as you get further into the show, you're like, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with this dude?
What is this guy's problem?
Yeah, what's wrong with him? Because he's talking to serial killers.
Right.
Like, he's like, I want to talk to this guy. I want to figure out what the hell is wrong with it. I want to figure out what makes them tick. And that's not normal.
Right. Like,
at all.
Normal people don't want to spend time around abnormal people all the time.
His partner, Holt McCallany, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
What is the name of the show?
Bill Tench.
Bill Tench. His partner's like, no.
Well,
when it first starts.
And that's that was the part of the show that I loved, was their dynamic, because, like, as serious as the show is, and it's super serious,
it's still pretty funny.
There's some funny moments because Bill Tench is like, no, what are you doing? Like, hey, lunatic, why are we talking?
This is not something I want to do.
Right, because at one point, Holden is like, I want to go talk to Charles Manson. He's like, no, what are you, crazy? Are you as crazy as him? Yeah, they wouldn't let him.
They was like, nah, he's no, you can't do that.
Like, get out of here. Yeah. But it's super interesting because, you know, like you said, the writing and the acting is very good, and it feels like a David Fincher produced program.
I think he directed almost the majority of the show.
Is that right?
If I'm not mistaken. I saw his name a lot in the directed by.
He directed 4 out of the 10 episodes. The first two and the last 2.
Okay.
Which makes sense, especially the first episode with that opening.
Yeah,
that's a very David Fincher opening. But what's also ultimately very interesting about this show is all the extra stuff that you kind of get along with it, right? Because there are actual killers in the show. They use their real names.
Oh no, they're real.
Those dudes are absolutely real.
And with this show, what it made me do is once they started interviewing these guys, I went on like YouTube to see if they had interviews of these guys, and
they do.
Yeah. And the guy that played Ed Kemper,
yeah,
I think that nigga really killed people. Like, I'm for real.
He was so good.
It was a little creepy. He was like huge.
Yeah,
big guy.
Yeah, Ed Kemper was
6'9",
6'9", 300 pounds. And he's like, oh, that's no big deal. I could just like twist your head off right here. And you're just like, but he's like the most mild-mannered person you ever meet.
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
way he talked, like, I could probably just twist your head off and use it as a fucking toilet if I wanted to.
It was like, please stop talking like that. And
please.
Like, could you at least be more violent in your rhetoric?
He's so calm and just like straight-laced. It's very creepy. And the other thing about these characters are like, the ones that get away with it, they're incredibly smart.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
It's
like,
very
these dudes are killers, and they're incredibly intelligent. Well, you kind of have to be to get away with for as long as they did. He's turned himself in.
Yeah, Kemper literally was just like, I was bored. You guys took too long.
Like, I couldn't catch me. So
he killed like 15 women, cut their heads off, and was having sex with their heads. And he was like, I'm tired now. Like, can you just arrest me? And also the other stories about Ed Kemper, like, because you and I were kind of like exchanging stories that we found online.
Yeah, the stories about what he did to the other prisoners. The one you said he was like, stop singing?
Yeah. It was like a prisoner just kept singing around him in prison. He didn't hurt him. He just kept throwing water on him every time he did, like Pavlov's dog, and just basically, just without threatening him, just train that guy to never sing around him, and he had to ask permission. Like, is it okay if I do?
Like, can I sing? Like, what are you gonna do with a 6'9", 320-pound guy?
Nothing.
Throws water on you.
Like, you know what?
Singing. And you know he murdered 15 women.
Yeah, like, you know what? You're good. I'll listen to you. It's fine. But the show, if you like true crime, this is the perfect fictional retelling of a sort of a true crime story. And it's really interesting. Like, there's apparently the second season is going to deal with the Atlanta murders, I guess in the 80s, which is
when he was kidnapping the black
I think so.
Black kids.
Yeah. So like that's
it. And well, I don't want to give away too much, but
right.
It's not much of a spoiler. It ends with a murder in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And
so
kind of.
So that the talk is that that's where the second season really focuses in on. So
what about the sub thread throughout the?
What do you mean?
They're going to continue that?
Oh, just the general building of the.
No,
unit?
remember. Well, like I had the guy, the ADT.
Yeah, I got to imagine he's
going to continue because they didn't catch him until like 2004.
Yeah. Like, that dude was still hanging out.
Yeah, he was chilling.
And this movie, the show happens in 1977.
He started his shit in like 674.
Yeah.
And he was taunting the FBI. He stopped for most of the 80s, and he started back up. Then he stopped again, and then he started taunting them in like 2004. Yeah. And then they finally caught him.
Good.
Like 40 years.
Yeah.
The dude was doing that shit. I don't want to give away who that is. I figured it out in like the third or fourth episode.
Yeah.
Because I knew who he was. But yeah, it's good. Like if you know who these people are,
it adds an extra level, I think.
Yeah, you're kind of like, God, these people are crazy.
But it's funny because a lot of people aren't talking about this. This is a Netflix original series. A lot of people aren't talking about because there's so many things on television right now. So, a lot of things are just saturated. But this is a damn good show. Like it's
very good.
Yeah, I was really impressed. The first time I saw a trailer, I was like, 1, I love true crime. 2 is David Fincher, and 3, like this this sort of fictional retelling of history is kind of badass. I'm like all about it, and I loved it. I really did. I like the end of this season. I like the character arcs for all the main characters, and them sort of like these hard-nosed kind of police guys in a way getting attached into this like clinical psychology world, and then that sort of taking them in a completely different direction in how they saw crime. Because like you have to remember, in the 1970s, they just thought that people who did these kind of things were just naturally born evil. Yeah. Right. But when they do these interviews with these guys, you realize like they were abused by their mom. Like most of them really had issues with their mothers.
They had a lot of
Yeah, like that was
a lot of
big
issues with women.
Yeah, they had a big issue with women. And it was super interesting to watch like that kind of unfold. And then you watch the characters because you kind of learn with them and you're just like, oh, okay. And they're just like, wow, this is really fascinating. But at the same time, you're like, this dude needs to be locked up forever. Like, don't ever let this guy out.
Yeah, there were a bunch of different, the relationship between him and his girlfriend because she's going to college and
yeah, that relationship was wild, man. Because she kind of like
she constantly called him out because she wasn't stupid. What was she going to school? I can't remember what she was going to school for, but like she kept calling him out on his bullshit.
Yeah, because there's also
she kept what's the word I'm looking for? She kept psychoanalyzing him through the entirety of the show.
Like, you're kind of a lunatic.
Yeah, like you're not all there. Like, you are, but you're a little off. Bro.
You're a little off. Well, and also there's also a thread, which I think is interesting too. There's also the sort of women's lib thread that goes through the show too.
They had the clinical psychologist.
Yeah, the clinical.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like the clinical psychologist and his girlfriend, right? Because they're like, even when they first meet, like their whole first like sexual encounter is very much a very women's lib moment where she's like, no, you're gonna do this, and he's just like, I've never done that before. Surprise! Like, I thought that was kind of funny, but she kind of turned him out like a little bit in the show, which is kind of hilarious. He's such a straight-laced weird guy. I mean,
bizarre dude. Like,
they have an interaction at one point. This is not a spoiler for the show, but they have an interaction at one point. She was like, if you could wear, they have a conversation. She's like, if you could wear anything, what would you wear? And he's like, my suit? And he's like, what would you wear? She's like, probably nothing, you psycho. Why would you wear your suit? What's wrong with you? Because he's so fucking straight-laced. Right. He can't help himself. So I thought it was really good. I thought the character interactions were great. And I'm like all about season 2, man. That was great.
I can't wait for it. It's a show that not a lot of people are watching, but you should be watching.
Yeah, if you like true crime, this is right up your alley. So check out Mindhunter season 1 on Netflix streaming right now. Of course, make sure you go to comingdistractionspod.com to listen to the audio versions of these reviews, or go to youtube.com and listen to the video or watch the video reviews, like you could be watching right now, of these reviews as well. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review or some star review on iTunes under Coming Distraction. So check that out, and we will see you guys next time.
Take it easy.